I say you're about to see some of the best photos I think I've ever taken, I'm far from exaggerating.
We on a tightrope with our eyes closed. Ancient crying as we march forward. I ain't listen, but I swear to...
Hello and welcome to the video. So today what we're going to be doing is something a little bit different. We're going to be going through a whole shoot day. Now, during this day we had 2 different shoots in the beautiful city of London. I started the day how I start every single shoot, and that's with packing my bags.
When I sleep, I hope that I'm new again and I'm lost.
Start this multi-shoot location day, it's a mouthful. Me and Ian had to rent 2 locations out. Now the first was a solo 60 gym just off the River Thames. The second location is a bohemian style studio in Woolwich. So to start off with, what Ian and I did is we went to the first location. Now this was the private gym that we rented out. Now we only had about 2 hours of this booking slot, so it meant that we had to do things quite quickly. Now we ended up actually getting to this location early, so I started setting up things like the Octobox beforehand, so that as soon as we got in there we could start shooting. Now this shoot was mainly just for Ian's portfolio, stuff that he can use for his socials, his fitness pages, and etc. So as we started going, what we did was we went in pretty much an order. We started with doing a bunch of stuff on the track. We then moved to doing some stuff on the bench, then doing squats, deadlifts, and etc. Now, as I'm talking, I'll put some photos on the screen. This bit will be a little bit quicker, but we ended up spending the whole 2 hours in there. We just got a bunch of content for Ian. So yeah, that was pretty much this shoot. And then what we had to do is quickly move on to the next. Now, to move on to the next, we had to unpack everything in this location and then get all the way to the other side of London. Now, on our way, we obviously got lunch and etc. But once we got there early again, so I started setting up early. Now, we went up into the studio and the studio was incredible. So obviously, I'll show you a little look around now. It had the first floor, which had 2 different sofas, and the walls were matching the sofas as well. So there was like a blue theme, a red theme. Then we had the windows at the back, which had the very old school vibe. They let a lot of light in, and the sun was actually going down at this point, which was quite nice for creating a lot of harsh shadows. Moving on to the second floor, there's a few more sofas up there, but what was great about this is that we could use lights and shoot down. So yeah, that was pretty much a shoot. And then what we did was we started setting up pretty much straight away. Ashley hadn't got here yet, so we started setting up before he got there, because again, we only had 2 hours for this booking. So to start off with, what we did was shoot against the window. Now, as the sun was going down, I wanted to use this as quick as we could, because we also brought an external light with us, so it meant that if the sun had gone down quite a lot of the way, it wouldn't really matter. So what I wanted to use is these natural light shots first. So with this, I did a bit of a mixture. I did some sitting down in one of the prop chairs, some leaning against the window, and I think the photos turned out really well, and I was really happy with them. So moving on from this, we moved on to the blue side of the room. Now in front of this was a nice blue sofa. I got the boys to change into a different outfit, and throughout the day, we've got them pretty much changing into different outfits for every individual shoot. So what we wanted to do with this is make the boys look as natural as possible. And that being said, I just wanted them to lounge on the sofa. I didn't give them too much instructions in terms of posing. I let them do their thing, but it was quite simple. What we also had was obviously the light against them as well. Although the light was coming through the windows, I just added the external light just so that it was a little bit harsher on them, and it meant that the scene was a little bit more balanced as well. All in all, I was so happy with how this turned out. We pretty much duplicated it for the other side, but the photos turned out incredible for this first bit. Like I said, we then duplicated it to the other side, and we did it on the red sofa, and we pretty much did the same thing. We shot them against the sofa. I got some close-ups this time as well. The red was amazing and contrasting with both of their skin, and also with the nice bit of light coming in and balancing on the wall. It just makes the photos have a very nice vintage, I don't know, theme to them. So moving on from this was the part that I was looking most forward to. Now, this is where I got to experiment a lot with the lighting, and to be honest with, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but when you go up the stairs, there's a whole bunch of railing. So what I thought was shooting the light through this railing and hopefully getting some light bounces. Unfortunately, the railing was very thin, so I had to think of a different option. Luckily, at the start of the day, I remembered that I saw a pallet. So what I did was I put the pallet in front of the light, and it actually created some light strips, and it blocked some of the light from going through it as well. All in all, this actually turned out incredibly. By using a bit of haze and creating that atmosphere, and also being allowed to see those light beams, it just worked incredible. A bit of the light also leaked onto the wall, and you can see some of the cage on the back, and I think it turned out incredible. And I mean, the photos just talk for themselves. It was like a dream, really. So following on from this, we actually ended up having extra time. Now, it started with us being really worried that we weren't going to have enough time for this shoot, but because we kind of went through things quite quickly, we ended up having like about 20 minutes at the end to just play around. Now, because the light was already upstairs, our plan was to actually shoot the light down the staircase. Now, the staircase was a nice spiral staircase, and what we wanted to do is put a gel in front of it. So what we did was put a red gel in front, we shot it just down the staircase, and we got the boys to sit on it. Now, in post-production, I did some of the shots in black and white, and I also changed some of the reds so that it had like a nice sunset hue, because the red was quite harsh. Now, I was actually really happy with how these photos turned out, and it created a big contrast from the other photos. Obviously, we had photos leaning against the window that were very natural, and then we went to the photos where I got to experiment with light beams, and then this, which was pretty much just like the single light going down. And honestly, I was really happy with the photos that was taken. And yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, feel free to just ask them below. But yeah, honestly, absolutely loved the shoot and can't wait for the next one.